A slitted amber eye opens through prehistoric fog. A low, wordless growl rolls out. This predator dwarfed Tyrannosaurus rex. History nearly erased him. Hace millones de años existió un mundo que ya no existe. Shifting continents, restless volcanoes, oxygen-rich air rises. Skies bruised violet by restless ash. Today, we walk into the lost world of the Mesozoic, a corridor of time nearly 180 million years long, longer than every human civilization multiplied, by 1,000. And within that corridor, giants moved. You know one name above all others: Tyrannosaurus rex. 12 meters of jaw and hunger. The tyrant lizard king, crowned by Hollywood, cemented in every child's imagination. For a century, science and cinema agreed. T-Rex was the ceiling. Nothing on land could rival him. That agreement was wrong. Long before the tyrant walked North America, larger apex predators already ruled land and sea. Forgotten giants. Names most people have never spoken aloud. Skulls longer than a grown man is tall. Teeth shaped like curved daggers of enamel. Modern science is only now revealing why they were forgotten, and why they were, in every measurable way, more terrifying. Picture the map of the Mesozoic itself, not the world you know. Pangea sprintering, South America drifting westward, Africa still shackled to the southern supercontinent. Oceans warm as bathwater, ferns the size of cathedrals. Into those hunting grounds, evolution released terrible monsters. Monsters our fossil record is still struggling to name. The true rulers of a world that no longer exists. But the largest predator of all appears only at the end. Remember that. Save the image for later. We begin in Patagonia, Argentina, 1993. A fossil hunter named Ruben Carolini walks the sun-baked badlands. His eyes catch something wrong in the sandstone. A bone. Another. Then a skull so long it seems impossible. The creature is named Giganotosaurus carolini. The giant southern lizard. Its skull measures over 1.5 meters. Its body stretches 13 meters from snout to tail. It weighs perhaps 8 tons of muscle and bone, 1 ton heavier than the largest Tyrannosaurus rex. It lived 30 million years before T-Rex was even born. Giganotosaurus hunted titanosaurs, long-necked sauropods larger than passenger buses. No single predator could take such prey alone. But modern science reveals something quietly astonishing. Multiple Giganotosaurus skeletons have been found in the same beds. Family units, pack formations, coordinated apex killers working together to bring down mountains of walking sauropod flesh. Their teeth were not the thick bone-crushing pegs of T-Rex. They were flat blades, serrated on both edges, designed not to shatter bone, but to slice living muscle in enormous sweeping arcs that would not stop bleeding. A Giganotosaurus did not need to kill quickly. It needed only to open a wound, then wait, then follow. Yet, across the Atlantic, an African rival grew even larger. Cross the ocean in your imagination now. Land in what is now Morocco, Egypt, Algeria. 100 million years ago, these were coastal river deltas, alive with reptiles the size of tanker trucks. Here lived Carcharodontosaurus, the shark-toothed lizard of the Cretaceous. Its name honors the great white shark of our modern oceans, and the comparison is not marketing. Its teeth were structurally identical to those of a shark. 8 inches of curved, serrated cutting edge. Bite patterns preserved in ancient bone show that Carcharodontosaurus did not chew its prey, it sheared it. Its skull was longer than Giganotosaurus. Estimates place its body at 14 meters, 15 tons of living weight, roughly twice the mass of an average Tyrannosaurus rex. 2 rexes standing side by side, one predator. Alongside Carcharodontosaurus roamed Mapusaurus, discovered in 2006 inside a mass bonebed of 7 giants buried together. This is our clearest evidence that Carcharodontosaurids hunted in coordinated packs, not a lone tyrant, a wolf pack, each animal the size of a school bus. Now imagine that hunting party moving through the Cretaceous forest. Then came Tyrannotitan, Argentina again. A body plan built for speed as much as size. Long legs, powerful shoulders, a jaw pressure modern simulations estimate near 50,000 newtons, enough to crush ribs like brittle dry twigs. Why did size favor these predators? The answer lies in climate. The mid-Cretaceous was hot, oxygen levels high, plant biomass exploded, herbivores grew to titanic proportions to digest low-quality vegetation. Where prey grows, predators grow to match. Gigantism was not accident, it was arithmetic. But land was not where the true monsters of this age lived. Turn your gaze to the sea. Warm, shallow oceans covered what is now Kansas, the Sahara, half of Europe. In those seas swam something worse than any land predator. Meet Mosasaurus. Not a dinosaur, a marine lizard, a cousin to the modern monitor, 17 meters long, skull filled with double rows of enamel teeth. One row lined the palate, hooking prey backward into a throat wide enough to swallow sharks whole. A tail, powered by a shark-like fluke, propelled 3 tons of muscle through water like a torpedo. Then there was Liopleurodon. Popular myth inflated it to 25 meters. The truth is smaller, but no less terrifying. 6 to 7 meters of pliosaur, skull nearly a third of its body length. Jaws that could bite a Volkswagen in half. Beyond the age of dinosaurs, before and after, swam Megalodon, the 18-meter shark whose teeth wash ashore like calling cards. Megalodon did not share the Mesozoic with Tyrannosaurus rex, but its lineage stretches back into that same warm ocean. A reminder that the deep never truly stopped producing monsters. And here our story turns strange. One predator crossed both realms. Spinosaurus aegyptiacus, Egypt. First described in 1915 by German paleontologist Ernst Stromer, original bones destroyed in a Munich bombing. The Second World War erased them. For a century, Spinosaurus was a ghost, known only from sketches and shadows. Then, in 2020, a team led by Nizar Ibrahim published a discovery that shattered everything paleontology thought it knew. A near-complete Spinosaurus tail unearthed in Morocco. And that tail was not the tail of a land animal. It was a paddle. Flattened, muscular, serpentine, built for swimming. Spinosaurus was 15 meters long, larger than Tyrannosaurus, larger than Giganotosaurus. It hunted in rivers, not on plains. A semi-aquatic predator the size of a city bus. A crocodile-like snout, conical fish-hooking teeth, and a sail on its back rising 2 meters into the humid air. One giant crossed both realms and vanished. Picture the Kemkem beds of Morocco, 100 million years ago. This single ancient river system hosted more massive predators per square kilometer than any ecosystem in Earth's history. Spinosaurus in the water, Carcharodontosaurus on the banks, Deltadromeus in the tree line, Rugops nosing through carrion. Paleontologists call it the impossible bonebed. There should not be so many apex predators in one place, and yet the fossils are unambiguous. They coexisted, they competed, they avoided each other by prey preference. Spinosaurus took fish and swimming prey. Carcharodontosaurus dominated the herds inland. But their territories overlapped, and something happened. Footprint evidence in the Moroccan Sahara shows trackways of both species crossing the same mudflat within days. Bite marks on Spinosaurus vertebrae match the tooth spacing of Carcharodontosaurus. This was not myth, this was combat. Who would win? It is the question every child asks, and every paleontologist secretly wonders in silence. The latest computer simulations, using estimated muscle mass and bite mechanics, suggest a grim and unexpected answer. On land, Carcharodontosaurus wins. In water, Spinosaurus dominates. On the mud between the two realms, uncertainty reigns. Two evenly matched titans, each capable of killing the other, each usually choosing to simply walk away. Then the sky itself began to burn. 66 million years ago, a single unremarkable afternoon changed everything. A rock 10 kilometers across strikes the shallow sea near what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. The Chicxulub impact, the energy released, equals 10 billion Hiroshima bombs, delivered in a single silent flash. Within minutes, ejecta rains through the atmosphere across the entire planet, and the air itself heats to the temperature of an oven. Forests ignite from Alaska to Antarctica, and within hours, the entire surface of the Earth is on fire. Then comes the winter, as sulfur aerosols and pulverized rock shroud the sun for years across the entire planet. Photosynthesis fails. Plants die. The herbivores that eat them die next, and the great food chain begins collapsing. And the predators, those enormous, magnificent, energy-hungry hunters, die last and slowest and worst of them all. Why did the largest die first among the theropods? Because sheer size in a dying world is a tax. A 15-ton apex predator needs to eat a small herbivore every day or a large one every week. When the food chain collapses, the giants starve first, while the small, adaptable creatures survive within the ruins. A 1-kilogram mammal can hide, hibernate, or scavenge scraps. A Carcharodontosaurus simply cannot do any of these things. It requires a functioning ecosystem to exist. When that ecosystem burned, the giants suffocated inside their own metabolisms. Extinction was not a single moment of impact. It was a slow suffocation stretched painfully across months and years. A last generation of enormous animals wandering through ash, breathing acid rain, hunting only shadows across a dying world. But amid the ruin, one lineage of ancient giants quietly endured, waiting in shadow for what would come next. Here is where modern science rewrites the story of prehistoric death, revelation by revelation, in the 21st century. Because paleontology today is no longer a simple discipline of hammers, plaster jackets, and dusty field notebooks alone. It has become a discipline of CT scanners, isotope mass spectrometers, and machine learning algorithms reading ancient bone. Recent CT scans of theropod skulls have revealed hidden internal air chambers, entirely invisible to previous generations of scientists. These hidden chambers hint at avian-style respiratory systems, efficient, high-throughput, warm-blooded engines humming inside a titan's silent skull. Isotope analysis of tooth enamel now tells us what these predators ate, where they drank, whether they migrated. Spinosaurus enamel contains oxygen isotope ratios matching freshwater fish, confirmation at the atomic level that it hunted in rivers. Carcharodontosaurus enamel tells a different story, of land herbivores roaming through long dry seasons on parched ancient plains. Metabolic studies of bone growth rings confirm what many suspected. These giants were not sluggish, cold-blooded reptiles. Their bones grew as fast as those of modern birds. They were warm-blooded, high-energy, active hunters of the Mesozoic. The old image of dinosaurs as cold, slow, sluggish lizards is dead. Artificial intelligence now reconstructs their musculature entirely. Feeding fossil measurements into biomechanical models, researchers generate reconstructions of jaw force, running speed, and hunting strategy. Giganotosaurus, simulations suggest, could sprint at nearly 50 km per hour in short, violent bursts across ancient plains. Carcharodontosaurus could crush a titanosaur's femur with a single devastating bite. And now, consider the living descendants themselves. Look up. That flicker of wings against the sky is a bird, a theropod, a living, breathing dinosaur. Every sparrow, every eagle, every hummingbird descends directly from small feathered relatives of the giants we have described. When you hear a crow call, you are hearing the voice of the Mesozoic, filtered through 66 million years. And one forgotten titan remains unnamed in museums, sitting in wooden crates in Argentina, Egypt, Morocco and China. Bones too fragmentary to publish. Skeletons awaiting a graduate student with sufficient time and dedicated research funding to finish. Somewhere in a drawer, a jaw larger than any known predator is waiting silently to be scientifically described. This is not speculation. This is simply the routine, everyday reality of modern paleontology unfolding across our world's museums. Why then does T-Rex still overshadow all these rivals? The answer is not scientific. It is cultural. Tyrannosaurus was named first in 1905 in North America, where the great fossil hunting museums first rose. It appeared in King Kong, in Jurassic Park, in 1,000 toy aisles. Hollywood chose the tyrant. Paleontology quietly catalogued the rest. But the record is being rewritten. Every year, new species emerge from the desert. Meraxes gigas, Ulugbegsaurus, Siats meekerorum. Names viewers have never heard, describing animals that would have towered over the tyrant. There is humility in this. Deep time is larger than any single species, larger than any story we tell. The world that no longer exists left more giants than we can count, more predators than we can name. Their echoes remain in the birds, the sediments, the desert winds carrying sand from another undiscovered skull. The next epoch hides an even stranger predator. Long before Tyrannosaurus, long before Giganotosaurus, before dinosaurs existed at all, another apex hunter ruled the Permian world. Larger than a lion, armored, saber-toothed, and utterly alien. That story waits. Subscribe to continue the journey into a world that no longer exists. Activate the bell for the next chapter. The next episode carries you into the Permian, into the age of super predators before dinosaurs opened their eyes. The journey into the lost world continues,